Hi, y'all. So we have our upcoming DLC next week, and one of the teams of teachers expressed some concerns because they have their grades due the next morning, and they were worried that they weren't going to be able to stay for the entire class. So in order to be a little more flexible, I'm taking out some of the stuff that we would have done during that session, and we're going to do a little blended learning. We're going to do some flipped classroom. So I've taken out some activities that we would have done together. I'm asking you to complete those on your own. I know that there isn't a lot of time left to do that, but I'm hoping you'll be able to do it just to accommodate the team that needs to have their grades done. And this will give you a little bit of an opportunity to see what a flipped classroom is like. So you're going to do some activities on your own, and we'll do a little more of the discussion in class. So our next class is going to look like you come in, we do the share out that we typically do. Then we're going to go right into presentation of your research that you've been doing this year. And then after that, I have a couple of things to tell you about the end of the year, and otherwise you're good to go. And actually the things I tell you about the end of the year, I might move to an email as well, just in the interest of getting you out as quickly as we can, since I know you all probably have grades due. So let's get started. We are working in the innovation and creativity tip chart strand for today. So that's the main focus of what this flipped lesson is going to be about. So when you're thinking about creativity, some of the ideas that I've seen in some of your classes, and maybe some things that you haven't thought about, ways that kids can demonstrate their learning. So everyone's done something, whether it's a project or whether it's just an in-class activity that gets at kids' creativity and what they can do in terms of showing what they've learned. So one of the things we want you to start thinking about doing is giving kids choices and maybe stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit in terms of what you're going to allow kids to do in order to demonstrate their learning. So here are some ideas that we came up with, and I'm sure that there's other ones that you've done. I know there are ones that some of you have undertaken this year and have played around with, and even ones that you're thinking about trying this year. So in the classroom, I'd like you to answer the questions that are posted there. So what does creativity look like with student learning and assessment? How can you leverage mobile devices to foster creativity in your classrooms? And the last question is, what does critical thinking have to do with creativity? What's the link between creativity and critical thinking? Because there's definitely one there. What do you think that link is? So you're going to take a minute or two, answer those questions on Classroom, and I'd like you to also respond to someone else's thoughts on these. So just pick someone else. If you're the first person, inevitably someone has to be the first person, just go back a little bit later and comment back on someone else's. And we'll talk about this for a minute or two when we get back together next week. So that thinking about how you're going to move to let kids show their learning and demonstrate what they're doing in creative and innovative ways, we're going to look a little bit at the tip chart. So this is the creativity and innovation tip chart strand. It is the last one that we have for the year. This is the last one that there is. So it follows the same pattern as the other tip chart strands. The top one are the teacher activities. The bottom is what that looks like when students are undertaking it. So we want you to think about how creativity and innovation can be incorporated into your classroom. And at first glance, sometimes it's a challenge. For some people who are teaching, engineering or maybe teaching related arts, it's a little bit of an easier link. Sometimes it's not, but there are opportunities for creativity and innovation in all studies, all curriculum areas. And so one of the things I want you to think about is what modern tools augment and accelerate creativity and innovation and can be flexible and varied. So one of the automatic ones should be your Chromebook. I mean, it's a great way of allowing kids to do things that normally they wouldn't be able to do, whether that's creating videos, or going on a virtual field trip, or creating a virtual field trip, or thinking about innovative problems that they wouldn't be able to practice with in class. I know that some science teachers use a variety of sites to do modeling and virtual labs that aren't possible in most classrooms. So this leads us to a discussion of, if you didn't have standards in your class, what would you teach? And this is a real question. What are those things that, if you didn't have to stick with standards, what are the things that kids are interested in, that you're interested in? What would you teach? Or if there's nothing extra or nothing that you would deviate from your standards, are there things that you wish you could revisit? So maybe there's a topic that you're really interested in, or that your kids are passionate about, that you only get to spend half of a class on. Is there something like that that you would revisit? Or maybe you're at the point where you have a lot of standards left to cover and you are concerned about how you're going to be able to do that. Is there a way that you can work creativity into those remaining standards? So what kind of creative and innovative learning activities can you plan for your students now that it's the end of the year? So we want kids to continue to learn. You want them to coming into your classroom being excited about learning. What ways can you work your lessons and work their learning into a creative and an innovative mindset? So now that you've thought about these for a minute, I'd like you to use the drawing that I've assigned on Classroom, and you're going to think about the creativity and innovation tip chart strand, and I've linked on the document. You're going to brainstorm some learning activities that you can plan for the end of the year. And I know that it's getting really close to the end of the year, so if you want to think about things that you could do next year at this time, or maybe you can think of some that would be applicable to this year, that'd be great. So here is the activity that is linked on Classroom. So you're going to use this link right here, the creativity and innovation strand of the tip chart. I actually took it out and put it into another drawing so you can annotate it, write on it, add text boxes, whatever works for you. So you're going to use you can use the shapes, you can use the callouts, you can use text boxes, draw one and write in it. You could use pictures, whatever works for you. You're going to brainstorm some learning activities that you can plan for the end of the school year. And feel free to build on the thoughts of other people. Feel free to work on pushing other people's thinking as well. So that's on Google Classroom. If you can, while you're doing that, think about how you can incorporate digital tools. What ways can you use your Chromebooks, or for the people who have iPads in their classroom as well, how can you work both of those together so that kids are having to work both of those at the same time? Another thing to keep in mind while you're doing this, remember our talk about authentic versus traditional assessments. Is there a way to work in an authentic component to this, a problem that kids are facing in school, or a problem that we're facing in the world? I know that some teachers do work a lot in authentic problems, whether you're teaching engineering or you're teaching science or you're teaching social studies. There are ways that you can incorporate those things. So those are all things to think about when you're brainstorming these creativity and innovation learning activities that you can do at the end of the year. So add whatever your thoughts are to that drawing on Classroom, please. We'll look at these next class, so make sure that you've added one, and you can just put your name next to the one that you wrote. The next thing I want you to think about related to creativity and innovation is really working to get kids to own the learning. And this goes really well with creativity, innovation, as well as authentic learning. So rather than just giving kids isolated learning or things that don't really appeal and connect with them, we want to, as much as possible, take what we have to teach them and make it a way that kids can really work with the learning opportunities and really own that. We want to make it so that kids are invested in what you're doing in class. So thinking about that and thinking about the innovative learning opportunities you want your kids to be doing in your class, I want you to take a second and reflect about how this year has gone for you. So in our year this year, we focused a lot on the TIP chart, and there are those 4 levels of the TIP chart: the entry, the developing, approaching, and ideal. And I don't expect anyone to be at any level. You are where you are, and this is a really just reflection. So what I'd like you to do is, on Classroom, there is a shared slides presentation. It's called My Year of Growth, and it has these 4 questions on it. So what I'd like you to do is go to slide 2. You're going to duplicate slide 2, and you duplicate it by right-clicking and then click Duplicate Slide. Once you duplicate it, you're going to change this so that it says your name on it, and then respond to each of the 4 questions. And I'll do it too. Mine will be there first. And you're going to just reflect on your year. How's it gone? What development have you made? What's been a success? What's been a challenge? How's it been going? And feel free to be as honest as you can with this. This is only going to benefit you. So that's on Google Classroom, and you can link to that. Finally, please make sure that you are ready to present your research next time. I'm excited to see all of you. I hope this has worked out well for you. As always, please let me know what questions you have. We will sort of discuss a little bit each of these things and wrap up the parts that you went through in this blended learning model. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you all will be able to get this work completed so that we don't have to go through this during class and can do the presentations and get you out of class as soon as possible.